Mary McLeod Bethune was anchored in her faith. And many times when people talk about her, that is the last thing or the least thing that they talk about. Yet it was the, the thing that guided her most. It was the thing that anchored her. And so from childhood, she believed that God was on her side. She believed that God was guiding her and that God opened doors for her. She wasn't afraid to try new and different things. She wasn't afraid that because of being a dark black woman and a dark black child, that there was a limitation. She didn't believe that. She believed, and as she said, when it says, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believed in him would not perish. She believed that that whosoever included her. And so from that point forward, she moved her life based on that. There was no fear, there was no hesitation. Black people were killed for learning to read and write, yet that was her driver. She was determined and she did that. Black people were killed for walking on the same side of the sidewalk as white people or for standing up for themselves. You could be killed, you could be lynched. One of the things that she protested was the lynching of black people, and not just black men, but black women, black children were lynched, and in some kind of festive activity. That was the mindset of the world that she lived in, the world that she grew up in. Yet she was able to overcome all of that and do incredibly magnificent things that made the world a better place for everybody. But her primary goal was to make it better for black people because she understood that we were dealing with something that was not just deterring, but was evil. And so her faith, her prayer, the way that she led her life, the way that Bethune-Cookman grew out of that faith. At Bethune-Cookman, they said prayers in the morning together. They prayed in the evening before everyone went to bed. Each dormitory was assigned a song and prayers and Bible verses. They came together for breakfast, lunch, dinner over prayer. That was the way Bethune-Cookman built itself on a solid foundation. It was mandatory that you go to chapel. It wasn't optional. You didn't get to decide. You went to chapel or you went home. Just that simple. Because that was her value system. And that was the value system in which she led her students. And as I talk to people across this country who went to Bethune-Cookman when she was alive, that was impactful in their lives. It helped them to become servant leaders. And even today, when students come to Bethune-Cookman, they walk into a sign that says enter to learn, and they leave under a sign that says depart to serve, because service is the highest calling. That's scripture. And so that was Mary McLeod Bethune. When she talked to the president, she didn't forget to tell him who God was and how it mattered to her in her life, and that God was telling her to tell him. That was how she lived her life. And so when we talk about her, you can't talk about her and not talk about God and the impact that it had on her leadership ability. She felt that if God led her to it, he would give her the resources necessary to get it done. And that's what she did. That was her level of leadership. She left that when in her last will and testament that she wrote for Ebony magazine, when she talked about love, hope, faith, it was about what God placed in her spirit. And so today, sometimes we're on shaky ground and we don't know which way to go. When she was on shaky ground, she went to God. And that is what leveled her out, stabilized her, and gave her a solid foundation to stand on. Faith without works is dead. However, when you look at the work that Mary McLeod Bethune did, you know that faith is alive and well because the proof is in what she left behind. Keep in mind, there is nothing stronger than the love of God and your action put forward in faith and strength. That's what Mary McLeod Bethune believed. That's why she was able to do what she did, because she believed that faith in God was the ultimate responsibility, and that if you had faith, nothing was impossible.